Yeah, very welcome to you, my dear Aries. The sun is now in Gemini, the lovers, and is giving the light to Aries, which is in your sign. And so we're going to the right, we're going to the full moon, which is in your opposite sign in Libra. And here the fourth major arcana. The 4 is the stability, but also the heart chakra. And here the 6th major arcana, the 6th, the hexagram, which is beautifully shown here between these two, in between their third eye. The 6th is the third eye. Right here the 4 is the heart chakra. And together we can see that this is a 10. The 10 is a new cycle in the way you are communicating in your relationship. Not being always a leader, not always being someone that is like controlling the situation, but communicating lovingly, right? And showing to the world through the sun that it is possible to unite really the opposite. And so you are the brain, the meditation in the yoga, and Gemini is king pigeon, reaching back to the feet, reaching back to the subconscious, using your arms, your shoulders, and your hands, which goes back to the feet, and in that we open ourselves up, right? Your body part is the brain, and the body part here in Gemini are the shoulders and the arms. So this just today to the sun and moon. But Gemini is also ruled through Mercury, and you are ruled through Mars. And so I decided to change the readings and only do really the necessities, which means we're going to look at Mercury. Mercury is the magician. Then we're going to look at Mars, which is in the tarot, the tower. And then, of course, the sun and the moon, right? And always through each deck's perspective. But we are gonna begin with the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands is here in this deck, the Ethereal Vision Tarot. I have all the decks listed down below. A woman that really knows what she wants. She is connected with the first house of self and identity, and she knows what she wants. And you see the cat is supporting her, right? And she's holding the sunflower, and she's really like, she's looking at you, and she's like, I know what I want. Is your birthday between March 12th and April 9th, then this is your court card, right? And we're gonna look at the court card first, because that's your position in society. And so Aries is the perspective of, I want to use my horns, I want to fight, right? The first zodiac sign in the year, right? And the sun year begins always in Aries. Back to the last reading where we had Taurus sun and Aries moon. Yes, I'm grateful and thankful for what life has given me so far. And interesting enough, right, we can see that you are really becoming more softer. You're becoming not anymore this kind of like stern looking personality. You are becoming more softer, and the lovers is going to help you with that, because in the Ethereal Vision Tarot the lovers look like this. And so you're just going to get here the difference, right? The difference of the softness. Here it's like red, and you see the heart, one half of the heart shaped out of her hair, right? When we turn it around, we see that the light is up and the dark is below, and here it's almost like the opposite. It's a very interesting and intricate card here through the Light Seers Tarot. So we are beginning with the Queen of Wands, right? Because that's who you are as a court card, but it could be that your birthday is before the 12th of March or after the 9th of April. Please look in the description below, then maybe the reading before or after works for you as well, because there is an overlapping, right? There is a difference between the major arcana and, of course, the court card. And so that's what makes it so interesting, right? That not everybody is like a pure Aries, right? Sometimes there is a mix. And so here for the Queen of Wands, I pulled the card, the Two of Cups. Is that moment where you really start to understand the power in the union, the power of a triangle, right? That this is duality at its most emotional aspect. And here we can talk about Venus in Cancer. Venus is, of course, the Empress, and there is a 3 inside, and a 3 that is pointing upwards to the third eye. And this is what the Gemini is telling you. Gemini is the third eye. Gemini is the union between the masculine and the feminine. The hexagram, the same way here. The hexagram is actually a triangle pointing down and a triangle pointing up. And so you are getting with your 1 a 3 here, and so you become the one that is seeing the duality from a higher perspective, from a third eye perspective, right? And you see that the Leo is here and the kind of a sword in the center, or a wand, right? But you see the white cup and the dark cup. And that's what duality is at its finest, right? It's at its most emotional here, to see that when we recognize the dualities, we can liberate ourselves, and you then become the one. And the one sees the duality, and in that we have the Trinity, the most holy number there is, right? And then, of course, out of Trinity comes the 6, the hexagram, right? Which is then the next holy number is the 6. And then the 9. The 9 is 3 times the 3. And 3 times the 3 is I became empowered by my own understanding of the Trinity. So you are in love, right? Or you are recognizing yourself, love to yourself, and in that we are gonna now look at the planets, and we begin with the Magician. So the Magician brings you here the magic, and this is really beautiful because here you have a 3. And the magic is the 33. So you have here 3 times the 3. And when we recognize the magic in life, right, and the 33 is a very specific number here in the tarot, it's the degree that we can reach in our consciousness, and in that degree we become magic. And so the Magician here is literally bringing you the magic. And when we use the magic, right, when we use this one wand, when we use the wand that is here in your right hand, in the hand that makes a decision, then we see that Mercury is bringing you magic. It's almost like the lovers are bringing you, right? Gemini is bringing you through Mercury magic. And this is a 3-3 in here, a hidden 3-3. And here the 3-3 comes as a number. And so this is a very, very beautiful message already. You become like really inspired by this love. It's almost like this love is catapulting into a higher dimension, right? This self-love at first, but maybe through a partner, but hopefully first through yourself, right? And so in this love, you are noticing that the magic lies in being innocent, like this childlike personality here. Then I wanted to see what is really the magic here, and the Priestess of Wands is coming up here to the right. And it's really beautiful because that's who you are. You are the Priestess of Wands here in this deck, the Mother Peace Tarot. I have listed all the decks that I'm using, right, and also their positions down in the description. So here you have the female Queen of Wands, and you see the Leo is looking at the magic, and here is the Lion in this love, the higher consciousness, and she is facing the right, and so she is taking action, right? She is someone that is really like, look at that, right? Very decisive to use the magic. And so I'm just going to put this down for a moment, otherwise I get a cramp in my hand. This is the one, right? This is the Queen of Wands here to the right. So you are ready to go to your full moon, to go out to the world, because the Magician is also a 1, and so there is an 11 as well. So you have a 33 and an 11, and the 11 is also a portal that is bringing you understanding that you have the wisdom of the inner teacher, the inner learnings, right? And so here a 1-1 is clearly you are understanding the magic and you want to use this magic, and as such you are awakening to it. Then, of course, there is also the aspect to Mercury from the Gemini perspective, right? Because Mercury rules Gemini, and I pulled a card, and here comes the Page of Swords. And so the Page of Swords are the young generations and are the 3 air signs. And so Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And so here comes maybe a young Gemini and is helping you to continue your study. And guess what, right? You have a 33, now you have another 3 here, so you have 3 times the 3. And with this 3 here, you have now 4 times the 3. And it's clear that here 4 times the 3 is speaking to your 4, to your stability, to your heart, that you need to accept that this love brings something really magical to you, right? Learn to be able to understand that the numbers are signs. The numbers can create portals, and so you have 4 times the 3 and 2 times the 1 through the Magician, right? And so Mercury is bringing you a really beautiful message already, right? The magic is here. You use the magic, and now even the young generation is helping you to study and learn more about that magic. Then we look at the Tower, and the Tower is bringing you the Unicorn. And the Unicorn, look at that, how beautiful, right? So Mars is the Tower, and I can put this card to it, right? So you see that there is an arrow out to the right, but here the Unicorn is pointing to the left. And so it's almost saying when you go out to be this magical being, you need to understand that when you go out to your full moon, you cannot neglect the within. And so here you understand that this is a clear message, because this is the 16, the Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers. Now this is the 6th animal, the spirit animal of the 5th realm, right? We have the spirit animals in the 1st realm, which is the earth energy, then the water, then the fire, and then the air. And then we have the 5th element, right, which is space. And in space came the 6th. And so Gemini is literally saying, well, if you fall from the tower, which is necessary, because you have here 3 and 3, and there is like a heart shaped behind. It's a loving energy that is changing something, so that you see the unicorn. So 7 appears here, the emotional intelligence, and the 6 is then a 13. The 13 is a big transformation, so that you can see that the 3rd eye is awakening for you, and that is coming through Mars. And Mars is like, well, now you see here the love that you are getting more and more acquainted to, a self-love, right? Seeing into this card of here, the 2 of Cups. And so, of course, I want to see what is coming up here, right, through the Mother Peace Tarot. And the 10 of Discs is coming up, which is Mercury in Virgo. And if I place it to the right, it's almost like the more you see into this self-love, Venus in Cancer, the more you also understand the financial aspect then of how you can learn out of the 13 that then becomes a 4, and that's you. You appear here, right, by combination of these 2 cards. And so the 4 and the 10 creates a 14, and the 14 is Temperance, and Temperance is the next stage of the Lovers. Here there are 2 people, but with Temperance, Sagittarius, right, the spirit of Sagittarius, there are only 2 cups left, and so the 2 cups are left, and there is a huge transformation in all of that. And so the 14 is appearing here very clearly, right, and then the 5 all together. So we have a look, of course, how the unicorn is talking to you, and in your deck the 9 of Cups is coming. And so the 9 of Cups is literally saying, well, rest assured that if you feel happy deep within, because you have already 2 cups, now you get another 9 cups, that's 11 cups. 11 cups, it's like you overjoyed, you ecstatic, right? And you had the 11 here with the 11 that you got here, right, with you, and the Magician and the Magic, that is the 33. And so it's really important that you really understand what's happening here. And the 9 is kind of like this really real happiness, right? And so the 11 with this 1, you get actually 3 times the 1. And understand that the unicorn is looking at the 9 of Cups, and that the 11 cups here are again bringing you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the 1, right? And when we calculate all of this together, right, with the Tower, then we get here the 9 and the 5, again the 14, and the 5 is left. So through your 5 senses, you will understand the 6th sense, which is coming through Gemini to you, right? Gemini is literally saying, learn as much as you can learn, because Gemini, as a young generation is here teaching you to learn, and then become more and more happy as you go along in learning. Good. Now we're gonna look at the moon, because the moon is in your sign, and the moon is bringing you here the 45. And the 45 is the 9 here again, and it's the repairing the veil, the forgiveness. And of course, to forgive means to give back what never belonged to you in the first place, right? And then this dimension can be repaired, and you are then seeing the butterfly that is able to live in this beautiful dimension, right? And so here you are getting a 9-9 portal, because the moon is the 18th major arcana, and the 4 is you, and the 5 is the Hierophant, right? And you have the 5 here with the unicorn and with the 10 of Pentacles, which is usually a lot of money, but it came reverse, remember? And we're going to look into the reverse a little closer, because you also got the 9 of Cups. So you have 3 times the 9, right? And something is really in the way you see money has changed, right? Either you had a lot of money and now you need to look at money from a new perspective and learn everything there is about money. And so I wanted to see what is coming up here, and the 8 of Cups is coming in reverse. And so now you have here 8 and 2 cups, which is 10, and 9 cups, which is 19 cups. 19 is the sun. The sun is letting you know through Gemini there is something that you need to move on, because usually we move on and you have somewhere your way, right? You have so many cups here, and again this is reverse, right? This card is reverse. The same, then the 10 of discs is reverse, and so you need to move on. Even here you had a lot of money, and the Tower brought you the 6, the unicorn. This is a very special animal, and you did it because you wanted to be happy. And in that happiness, you realize now that something needs to heal, because I wanted to see what is healing here. And you get, sorry, I'm going to turn it this way, and you get the 5 of Pentacles. And so now you have 15 Pentacles, and 15 is the attachment to money. And so the Tower came to change that, and you needed to be almost poor, right? You needed to find your self-worth again, so that you can learn, so that you're moving on with the 8, right? And so the 8 and the 5 is the 13 again. There was a huge transformation so that you can repair the veil. And it's important that you really understand that the 4 is then appearing here again. And this is what here the moon is bringing. The moon, which are your emotions and your subconscious. You are learning more and more to let go, because this is Mercury in Taurus, and we get Taurus, moon in Taurus tomorrow, right? And so this is Saturn in Pisces, and so there is some intense energies here. But Mercury brought you the magic, remember? So with the magic, you learn more and more who you really are. And really now also the 10 of Pentacles makes sense that it's reverse. It's almost like this money that you had, it almost did something to you, something that prohibits you from really being happy. And sometimes we need this wake-up call, because we became too acquainted, too used to a certain amount of money. And so something here, Mercury again, Mercury, which brought you the magic, it's almost like you need to rediscover the magic, right? And so remember the Two of Cups, right? From there this is the central card. This is what you have in mind right now, and from there you see in your subconscious that you need to find a new way of looking at love, right? That love has maybe done something to you that you need to change. And so now the sun is bringing you here the voice, right? And you see that she's looking down at her and she's like, yes, you go out, right? You going out to the sun. Your path is going to the sun, from full moon and sun, right? So that you can repair something. And so here the 25 is then learning to understand that you are awakening to your voice. And what's really interesting, when we calculate all the cups together, right, the 2 and the 9, which is the 11, and the 11 and the 8 is then the 19, we get a 10 as well. And so you needed to move on from something. That's why the 10 of Pentacles are reversed, right? And there is something emotionally you needed to learn something. And it's important that we understand what we're learning, right? And so here, the 7, the emotional intelligence that comes to us when we really look deeper into then how we communicate, right? Externally, the sun is this external energy, right? Here, this is the internal energy. And internal, you needed to look deep within into the unicorn's third eye. And this is the magic, right, coming through Mercury. And in that magic, you see that you can go out there to the right. And so it makes sense why the Queen or the Priestess of Wands is going to the right. And so what is speaking here is the 8 of Wands. And the 8 of Wands, look at that, is upright. So you have 1 upright, 2 reverse, right, and 1 to the right. And important to understand that she is shooting these arrows to her, right? I mean, I can also put the card here, and so it's behind her. But here, it's like the 8 of Wands is coming at you, and that's connected with Mercury in Sagittarius. And you had the 14 twice. And the 14 is temperance. And in that temperance is that bringing to an equal the dark and the light. And so the 7 and the 8, again, is the 15, and the 15 came up, right? The attachment to the money, the 15 coins, right? The attachment to money, learning now to see who you really are, learning to understand that you, without money, also someone, you don't need to have a lot of money to be accepted in society. And so what's coming else from Gemini is the 10 of Cups. And so look at this, right? You have 10 cups with the other 19 cups, right? Calculated together. So in a way you have now 29 cups, and that's again an 11. But I can also, of course, calculate the 10 and the 10 here. It's a 10-10 portal. Then you have again a 1-1, right? The 11. Or you have, of course, when I calculate the 10-10 together, the 20, then it's your calling, right? It's your calling to be really happy, and this is where the 8 comes in. So when we calculate all this together, we get the 10, and the 8 is the 18. In your subconscious, you know that you need to go out there and show to the world what you're made of, right? That you are now understanding the message, and that this is the 12, right? The 12 is then the spiritual and the artistic perspective that you emotionally can show to the world. And that the 2 of Cups is a happiness that isn't defined always with a man and a woman, right? It isn't always this. It can be 2 women and it can be 2 men. it can be anything, right? And you see that there is this really deep happiness, because this is Mars in Pisces, and Mars is bringing you here through the tower, the unicorn, and the unicorn is saying, yes, here, the 8, right, of Wands. You understand that the 8 of Wands is then here with the 8 of Cups, an 8-8 portal, but the 8 of Cups was reversed, and so it's almost like the Wands take 8 actions to overcome these 8 emotions that are drowning you a little bit, that make you sad, that make you move on from something that is not making you happy, right? And so you are learning here with the 10, and the 7 is also the 17. The 17 is the star, which is Aquarius. You can be a star. You're going to the sun. The sun is a dwarf star. And the 17 and the 8 is the 25. And the 7 is left. The emotional intelligence is here to tell you, you gotta go out there. You gotta show to the world that you use the magic, and that the unicorn sees the magic, and that then you can connect the veil, right? And then you can go out there, and then you can do whatever you want to do, because you're going to your full moon. You're going back to Libra, which is also in here, the young generation of Libra, right? Libra is going to give you the light at your full moon. And so use the magic, because the third eye is coming, right? That's why you are falling, right, from a big tower, because sometimes you can be this personality that is like, well, I'm a leader and I am Mars and I can do whatever. No, you can't. It's right, you see it, you can't. You use the magic, but you need to stay grounded. You need to stay down here and not abuse this position ever, because then you not gonna really understand this. I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the sun in Cancer, and Cancer came up here, Venus in Cancer, right, through the 2 of Cups. We're going to look deeper into that, but also into the emotional intelligence, right, that the sun is bringing you now through Gemini. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.